Navigating a new environment and a new position can be very difficult, especially when it feels as though you were thrown right into it. For the most part, up until now, my wife's career path was drawn out for her. Make no mistake, she was not forced into this profession, and she has worked very hard to get to the point where she has today. What I mean to say is that the steps for her progress have been very clear. In a way, it was like following a recipe from a cookbook. First you do this to get that, and while you wait for that, you study for this. To stay on the same theme of books, we're at a point in our life where we're putting the cookbook away and we're leisurely reading a choose your own adventure book. As we juggle both of our professional careers, our next steps in our life are going to be more heavily influenced based on the quality of life rather than the prestige of where and who we work for. So before I can talk about what's going on right now, let me give you a mini roadmap to what led us to this point. What's up, you guys? As I mentioned before in previous videos, I want to make a mini video series talking about how my wife and I survived intern year. The focus of this is not just going to be intern year, even though that's kind of going to be what I'm starting out with, but I want to kind of explore how it's been being married to a doctor now, and I want to kind of give more of my insight as a non-medical professional in aims and hopes that I might help others in a similar situation. I will be doing other videos that go into way more depth and more detail. However, I do want to use this video as kind of the introduction to the series and to explain the process of becoming a physician to those that might be unfamiliar with the process. So to give you a little context, my wife is currently an internal medicine and pediatrics resident. For those of you that may be unfamiliar with the process, it goes something like this.
So again, things can be different for everybody, but for the most part, and specifically her situation, you would start going out to undergraduate school for college or university, and as you're working towards that, towards the end, you apply to medical school. Once you get into medical school, you go through the white coat ceremony. That is where you're kind of initiated into, and you take the oath of working towards becoming a physician. Then you spend your 4 years in medical school, and if you choose to do a residency, so undergrad, white coat ceremony, and then you go through medical school. At the end of medical school, there is this thing called match day. On match day, the National Resident Matching Program releases results to all of the applicants, and they simultaneously open their envelope to determine their fate. It's actually a pretty exciting day, very emotional, but that's neither here nor there. Then you fast forward through some of the logistics of moving, and you arrive at your intern year.
So that is a very brief explanation of the steps to becoming a doctor, from all the way from undergrad to residency, and I will get into what we're currently going through, which is finding fellowship in future videos. But I also want to share with you some vocabulary that might be helpful moving forward and throughout the series. Some of this vocabulary, admittedly, I learned in So what is residency? Once you have graduated medical school, you go into residency, and depending on what you are going to be specializing in, that's anywhere from 3 to 7 years. Throughout residency, a resident practices medicine under the supervision of a fully credentialed attending physician. An intern is a physician in their first year of residency after successfully graduating from medical school. And I want to be clear that these interns are real doctors. I've often had people that maybe don't understand the process that ask me, hey, when is your wife going to be a real doctor? Well, once you graduate medical school, you are a real doctor.
He doesn't want to be treated by interns with your eye dotted with a heart and a little frowny face at the end. Regardless, you interns are the future of this hospital. And if you don't treat patients, you won't learn. What I want you to do is walk over to Mr. Meltzer and say these words: I'm your doctor. Deal with it.
Again, for those of you that are new here, my name is Tony. If you found this overly simplified crash course to becoming a physician or becoming a doctor interesting and maybe helpful, please consider giving the video a thumbs up. It'll help with a YouTube magic spell, and it might help make my Theo a little less mad at me for not petting him or hanging out with him while recording this video. I don't know, maybe he doesn't care. Again, this is just an introduction to a little mini series I plan on putting out there that hopefully might help people, or I don't know, maybe you find it interesting. Like I said before, I just want to provide you with the context and a little background information before I can fully get into what is going on right now, which is patiently waiting as we figure out where we will end up for fellowship.
Peachy.
It honestly could be anywhere. It might be Canada. I don't know, maybe. Remember to take care of yourselves, check in on your loved ones, and help someone when you can. Catch you guys in the next one.